Beard. It sounded like some really good defensive-oriented practices were the impetus for that game. Can you talk about the importance of those and how they kind of carried over?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that your performance in a game is a result of your preparation. So I thought we had great preparation by the coaching staff, players' focus, and it carried over to 100% to our defensive performance in the UNLV game, no doubt about it.
Was there an effort in that game to maybe slow it down a little bit more? I think you guys had like 60, 61 possessions in that game versus like 70.
I think that they when you play really good defense, what happens is it takes the other team a longer time to find a shot, and that hence the less possessions. You know, that's a result of playing better defense. A lot of possessions when the other team's shooting layups. They just dribble down, no pass, and shoot a layup. A lot more possessions that way, but that's really the result of that. You know, when you unless you're going to play a team that's just going to shoot it fast regardless, which they're not. You know, Kevin does a good job coaching. They were trying and trying to find a good shot. It just they couldn't find a good one early against us, so they spent a lot more time on offense. Not that we were slowing the game down. Their inability to get an open shot against us slowed, made less possessions in the game.
Did Jaime come out of that okay?
Yeah, I mean, Jaime's, I don't know, you'd have to probably get a foreign object involved and knock him out. He's amazing. So I think you got a little bit of a headache, 5 stitches. Other than that,
what's kind of your
a lot of guys have maybe out 2 weeks with that.
Yeah.
I may miss the first minute of the second half because he was yelling at him to hurry up with the stitches.
You got 2 guys that have gone down with Miles' elbows now. You got to watch out for.
Got to watch out for Miles' elbows. Everybody but me, because I just go right under him.
What's kind of your scouting report on Colorado?
Same as usual. Very high execution team. Always very well coached. They're bigger than us at almost every position. Other than Miles and Kenny's at the 5, they're 1 through 4. They're taller than we are. Concerned with their ability. I think they're 3rd in the nation. I'm sorry you guys didn't come in. Usually you guys come in with good stats. Did you know this? So they're 3rd in the nation in free throw attempts.
Oh,
there you go.
And they're always really high, Nick, every year. They do a great job of attacking the basket, putting pressure on the rim, and offensive rebounding. So they're not quick to shoot a 3. So they're gonna run their offense and try to execute and get the ball at the rim on you. That's why they get fouled so much.
How have you seen them kind of change things up on offense without McKinley Wright this year?
Still searching, I think, in fairness to them. They had some close calls early. It's an adjustment when you lose a guy that dominates the ball as much as McKinley dominated the ball in his career there. And it's smart to put the ball in his hands. So, but I like Bartholomew. He's a good player. He can make open shots. He's only going to get better. So I think it's, they're just going through an adjustment period. But they played really well against Stanford offensively. Stanford's a big team that always defends with great size, and they put 80 on them. So I think you can definitely see them changing from the early on when you watch their films. They're much more efficient offensively here lately.
I know it's a little bit of an emergency measure with Cody and Mack out, but what's been your assessment of just the effectiveness of the small lineup with Jalen at the 5 through 6 games this year?
Well, I think you have to be able to do that because some games, I'm a big believer, some games call for adjustments. I'm not a believer in my way. My way is to win. And if you got to play small to win, you got to play small to win. You got to do whatever you got to do to win. So, you saw UNLV went small, so we went small, so because they were just going to go small. They couldn't get anything off their offense, so they just went to a spread dribble drive. So we just went small to defend it. I think you have to be able to do that. That's why you got to recruit a guy like a Jalen Clark, a versatile player like that can play bigger in a very small lineup that can switch everything and move his feet and stay in front of the basketball. So it's we don't practice a lot that way. So at times I'm coaching on the fly, trying to get guys in the right spot on offense. You can see, Jalen doesn't run around playing the 5 in practice. So that's an adjustment for us. But I think what you've with that, when we do that, throwing him or Jaime the ball in the post and spreading our shooters out is probably something that, you'll see more when we have to do that. But you get in Pac-12 play, there's not many teams gonna go that small on, especially Colorado. That won't happen.
What specific about Jalen makes him able to kind of guard up like that in size?
When you combine his size and athleticism with his heart and toughness, it becomes a Draymond Green effect. That's what makes him such a valuable player.
Now that you've talked about Colorado's size, is there a bit of more concern in your mind defensively, assuming that Cody would still be unavailable?
Yeah, he won't play Wednesday. Jaime's foul trouble on the interior, because Jabari Walker is a guy that was a talented, athletic guy that could make a shot, but this year he's posting up quite a bit, and he doesn't fade away. Power shots. He's added at least 15 pounds of muscle. I don't really know. I'd have to, look at all their media stuff, but it's obvious. He's playing with a lot more strength around the rim. So, nowadays, almost everybody, Jaime's guarding more of a face-up player, except in a game like this, he's got to guard a post-up player. Or when you play another team like USC would be a team that he'd have to guard a post-up player. So that's a concern. Foul trouble, for sure.
And you've talked a lot in the past week about qualities that define a team that does well on the road, that can win games.
Yes.
On the road.
In any sport.
What about on the flip side for a team that defends home court well? What kind of qualities would define that type of squad?
You don't lose at home. If you want a high seed in the NCAA tournament, or you want to win your conference, you have to win your home games. If you're able to go undefeated at home and split on the road, you're only going to play 9 or 10. And you got your neutrals. You're going to make the NCAA tournament every year. So, at a program like UCLA, our goals should just go undefeated at home every season. You have to go undefeated at home. And at home, to really get to your point, you have to be able to make teams feel like they're playing on the road with your intensity, your pressure, the things, how hard you play, getting your crowd into the game with your effort, your hustle. So that's what really gives you the home court advantage.
David Singleton this year is still obviously a great three-point shooter, but just from what we've seen him dunk on fast breaks and layup lines, throwing down alley-oops, it seems like taking a step as an athlete. Is that something that you've noticed in practice or in games this year?
I guess so. I guess that's fun for you guys. Dunking in layup lines, not a big thing on my radar. I'm more concerned with his defense on the ball. That's where his athleticism is important. You becoming a better athlete for David and his career and for our team is him being able to defend the ball. Him, Johnny, and Jake. That's where people right now, that's the biggest thing. Peyton getting to the point where he can be a better on-the-ball defender. For us to be a good defensive team, you got to have team defense, but if you're always in help, you're going to struggle. And it's no secret, people try to attack Dave when he gets in, Jake when he gets in, Johnny. That's an area they try to attack us. So that's my concern with David's athleticism, his lateral quickness, stuff that matters in a basketball game.
A couple of years in now.
I wasn't bad in layup lines.
Sorry. Couple years in now on this Pac-12 schedule with the 20 games starting in before December. How do you like it?
I don't mind playing the quality games in December, but you and I do a separate article on that someday, Ben. My short answer would be, I think that what you saw last week with all the high-level non-league games is what we need to start going more towards to create more interest in college basketball. So I would be a proponent for all the Power 5 to play 18 or 16, but to play, instead of being forced into the Gavitt games, so the Big East plays the Big Ten, or being forced into the Pac-12 versus, I think we should all have maybe like a pact where we're all going to play 4 or 5, and not neutral, like some, you're going to play 4 home and homes versus Power 5 teams. Everybody almost has to do it. Combined with a neutral, I just think that, we have to assess our product. If you want to be able to carve out, marketplace, branding, attention on college basketball, you got to play the games that were played last week. We've played 2 already. We still got to go to Marquette, which I'm sure will be a sellout. We obviously still got North Carolina. I think it's better for college basketball. I think it creates more national interest than another Pac-12 conference game. I know the answer was, the reasoning behind it was to, the TV deals. They wanted more league games because they wanted more quality games. So TV was the reason people started going to 20. I don't know if you guys know that. That's why people started TV contracts. But if TV knows it, instead of you're gonna play 16, plus you're gonna play 4, 2 home, 2 road against other other Power 5 teams, and they get those rights, I think it would be more interesting. And I think that's what we need to do. Look at the powers that be in our sport, need to look at every possible way to make, to create interest in our sport in November and December. We can't just be a sport about March Madness. I think it would be an interesting way to do it, so.
What would that do for college basketball? I mean, more interest at this time of year, what would that do?
You gotta play
for
quality.
college
Well, I think it helps your TV ratings, helps your ticket sales, all the above. So times change, you're fighting for your market share. And we gotta do everything. I think it's like any other business. You can't, the death of every business is to say, well, this is how we've always done it here. So I can name a few of those. They're out of business. All right, you guys got one more? You guys good? All right, guys, thank you.